Hi, my name is Julia M. Spencer. I'm a real estate advisor, investor, and your number one source for real estate advice online. Thank you for checking out my channel. If you have a moment, please subscribe to my newsletter. It's on my website, which is listed right here at the bottom of this video, and I look forward to hear from you. Of course, you can also always send me messages too, leave comments if you like, and stay in touch. In this video, we're going to talk about heirs property. So what is even heirs property? And I love making these videos because I go to tax sales and I learn things that I never even knew before. And there's no way for me to, any other way that I would have found out about this. So I always recommend, if you want to get into tax sale foreclosures, to make sure you go to as many live auctions that you can possibly go to, because you're going to pick up things that aren't written down anywhere. And this is really how you can learn. So I encourage you to schedule yourself for at least 6 auctions in the first 6 months, whether it be online or live. Hopefully lots of them are going to be live ones, and just experience the whole thing. So let's talk about heirs property. So how did this video even come about? So very recently I have started teaching a local student right here in the Savannah area, Georgia, South Carolina, and we decided to go to a tax sale in Buford County. This is in South Carolina, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how things work in South Carolina and a little bit of the techniques and everything that had to do with that sale. But we come across this auction, and the treasurer, the county treasurer, actually made the announcement, and she talked about heirs property. And I figured heirs property is just property that goes to heirs of somebody who may have died. And a lot of times that's usually what happens. Tax sale foreclosure properties, taxes are unpaid because somebody died and heirs are hard to find and things like that. That's just normal. That's just part of this business. But it turns out that's not exactly what it was. So I wanted to make this video to teach you a little bit about it and to let you know what actual heirs property is, in case you ever run into something like that in your investing endeavors. So after the announcements were done, the treasurer basically said that some properties that are on the auction list are actually heirs properties. And it is the gentleman's understanding, what they said, that, and I made some notes about this actually because I had to research it a little bit more, but they have this on their website as well, the Buford County website, that it's a gentleman's tradition. If somebody stands up during the auction and claims the property that's about to be auctioned off as heirs property, and that's Heirs, then it is a gentleman's understanding that nobody should bid against them. And of course, it was also said that there's no county ordinance not to bid on heirs property, so you can, of course, but it's a gentleman's understanding here in the South that you don't bid on heirs property. And I'm like, huh? What was that even? I've never even heard of this. So, but what it is basically, it's a tradition. And what it is, basically heirs property is property that has been for a long time in the past been in the hands or has been occupied or used by former slaves. And they have been on this property all their lives, probably for generations, and have taken care of this property. But a lot of times it's very difficult to identify the proper property path from owner to owner to owner, because a lot of times in the past former slaves and their owners have not properly recorded these records of ownership in the past, but in other cases they have been. So people have used this property, former slaves have used this property and have taken care of it, so they kind of have they have the right to use the property, even though it's not their property. And so again, my eyes were wide open and my ears were perked, and I'm like, huh? explain that to me. How does that even work in terms of a law sentence? So I'm going to just read to you what it says on the website. If you've never seen something like this, just wanted to make you aware of it in case you're investing down here in the South, because this might actually apply to you even if you buy property from another owner, because there's a certain kind of verbiage that's actually written in the deeds that are written here in the South that gives heirs of former slaves certain rights to the property, even though they're not the owners of the property. And let me just pull that up for you. So the one thing I like about the Buford County website, and this is the first time I attended the sale, that everything is very clearly explained on the website. Even though the individual pages are all over the place, it's kind of hard to find it. It is all there, so if you take a little bit of time to weave through it, you'll find everything that you need. I believe that other counties should take an example here from this Buford website. So let me just read to you what it says about heirs property. So heirs property is land and an associated dwelling that are jointly owned by descendants of a deceased individual whose estate was not handled in probate court. A descendant is defined as anyone related by blood. These descendants or heirs have the right to use the property but do not have clear or marketable title to the property. So let me just reiterate that. There will be people in this case that have the right to use the property, but actually aren't the owners of the property. So this is mind-baffling, because I didn't think that there is actually anybody that can use a property unless they actually owned it on the deed. So let me just continue reading here. Receiving or paying the property tax bill does not change ownership rights and does not make an individual an owner or give an existing owner greater rights than another. Ownership can only be changed through a duly recorded deed. So all heirs of a property are owners, called tenants in common. This is the legal term here used, tenants in common. Whether they are specifically listed as owners for the Buford County tax sale or not. Heirs property may be identified as such in the owner name advertised for tax sale, indicated as HRS, HEIRS, etc. So the key point here to carry weight is all heirs of a property are owners, called tenants in common, whether they are specifically listed as owners for the Buford County tax sale or not. So you might be buying property that's occupied and used legally by other people, and you're just going to have to deal with that. So you have to be very careful when you buy properties like that. So let me just continue reading, and then I'll give you a couple more pointers for this. Historically, heirs have used the tax sale as a method of obtaining a clear title for a property. When an heir's property comes up at auction, it has been an informal occurrence for the heir to announce to all other bidders that they're bidding on heir's property as an appeal to other bidders to not bid against them. This practice is not based on South Carolina state statute and is not a policy enforced by the Buford County Treasurer's Office. Adherence to this practice is strictly up to the individual bidder. If you are an heirs property owner, please see our helpful links for organizations that specialize in assisting with heirs property. So, yet again, it is a practice, gentleman's tradition in the state of South Carolina, and there's actually a couple of other states too that are listed here, not to bid on heirs property if somebody's present that claims to be an heir. So it's a tradition. And the people that came forward during the auction are actually from an organization called the Penn Center that were kind of explaining this, along with the county treasurer and trustees basically of that organization. And this Penn Center organization was an organization that was founded in 1862, and it was the first school for formerly enslaved West Africans that are maintaining heirs property in the community. So this organization used to be a school for former slaves. It then became a community center, and they have a museum now and all kinds of events. So I actually looked up on their website what they all do, and they're nationally they're in a nationally accomplished organization and have been supported too by a lot of very high-level community leaders for what they do. Yeah, and they do, and this is a practice that's practiced right here in the Sea Islands in Buford County. I know in Jasper County, they mentioned another county, but I didn't write that down. So it's down here in the Low Country, and this is where this practice is very common. So I wanted to just make this video for you to make you understand that that sometimes when you go to these auctions, and remember what I teach in my audiobooks and my YouTube channel and my other videos is to always do your due diligence. So here's another thing that you need to pay attention to before you bid on property, is to research during your due diligence if this particular state has any kind of special accommodations for heirs of property, and property that's basically informally has been owned and used and taken care of by heirs, and whether that be former slaves or other heirs, and whether there's some sort of legal encumbrance that comes with that particular property. And in this case, of course, if it says that a property in the property records is has owners listed as tenants in common, that should raise all kinds of red flags for you, unless of course you don't mind that other people use your property once you purchase it at a tax sale. But remember that it's going to be also very difficult to sell a property where there's tenants in common, because a lot of people associate the ownership of a specific property, whether it be land or improved property, with their exclusive use of it. And if that's not maintained, or if that's not guaranteed, that's going to remove the marketability of your property significantly. So you need to definitely pay attention if there's any kind of wording that says that there's heirs in common, that there is an HRS next to the property title, or heirs, HEIRS. And feel free to check out this website too. It's BufordCountyTreasurer.com, and you can just search Buford County heirs property. That's what I typed. But and I've seen this before too when I researched the sale, but I've never paid much attention to it because I figured, well, you know, whatever, we're selling property, so whoever gets the property, it's their property. But that's apparently not the case in this county. So you need to be very careful with these things. I'll bring you these videos so your awareness is raised for what kinds of things that you can and cannot do with your property, and also make sure that you are very well aware and very well prepared not to make any costly mistakes if you go to an auction. So I hope this video was useful. If it was, make sure you share it with your friends, save it, play it again if you have to get the information again. Ask me questions. My name is Julia M. Spencer. My email is realestate@juliamspencer.com. You can always email me. The best way, probably the quickest way to reach me is via email, or you can leave a comment under any of my videos here. I do encourage and invite you to subscribe, because a lot of times other people in the community that are subscribed can answer questions sometimes faster than I can. And yeah, and I hope you have a great day investing, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.